Live, love, and lead. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally. This is the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host today. A certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker and author, the CEO of Inspired Leaders International, and the provincial president of the Fathers Union by God's grace. I will say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world. You always hear the question, "Men, where are you? Men, where are you?" Others even go to scripture and use some scriptural, references to ask the same question and say, "Adam, where are you?" God is asking, "Adam, where are you?" And I'm always wondering, where are those men they are talking about? For me, I am here. You see me. My guest is here. You will see him soon. Who are those men we are asking about? And actually, where are they? And especially if you are the lady who is asking, "Men, where are you?" And you have a husband, and that husband is nowhere. We want to first ask you, where is your husband? You are a helper, much as he is the head. So how are you helping him to realign himself to be where he is supposed to be? Well, today we are talking about a very important topic that says, men, arise and lead. Men, arise and lead. So if you are a lady seated right there watching this program today, you are a mother, you are a sister, you are a daughter, you are a wife, let me request you to do the best that you can to bring that husband near you right now, to bring that brother, to bring that uncle, that neighbor, a gentleman to right now tune in as we talk about the importance of men arising and taking their position of leadership, whatever God has called them to be. Today, we want to ensure the rubber hits the road as we diligently look at this critical issue. Men, arise and lead. And to have this conversation with me today in studio is a fellow husband, the husband of Flavia, a fellow father of amazing children, as he will be soon telling us. A man I met in 2016. How many years are those? Those are about 7 years or so. The head of the legal department at the International Justice Mission, a lawyer. None other than my wonderful brother, a member of Fathers Union, Counsel Byron Mwanje, in studio. If it was at a seminar, at a conference, we would say, "Put your hands together and welcome Counsel Byron Mwanje." My brother, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Thank you, Sam. I'm good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Sam.
How have you been?
It's been quite a while.
It's been quite a while.
But the Lord has kept me well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please go right ahead, look into that camera, and introduce yourself further to our viewers and greet them.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, viewers, wherever you are. My name is Byron Mwanje. I am a lawyer by training and practice. As Samuel has said, I serve with the International Justice Mission, an organization that protects people living in poverty from violence. And I lead the legal team in Uganda. I am married to Flavia, and we have 2 children, Carissa and Evangeline. I am born again, and I am a teacher of the word by calling. I'm glad to be with you in this session today.
Awesome. Those are amazing names, your children. Did you say Carissa? Carissa and Evangeline.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, Carissa, as you've said, relates to grace.
Yes,
the grace
indeed.
of God.
Indeed.
She is our firstborn.
Yes.
Her other name is Pearl.
Pearl.
Which means something precious.
Yes.
And then
Evangelism.
Evangelist. The preacher of the gospel, and her other name is Praise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. It's good to have you here today and to get to know about your family as you have just shared with us.
Thank you.
And you remember 7 years ago I told you that you share a name with my late father. My father was called Byron Bakutana. So I feel like I'm hosting dad.
I'm quite privileged.
Much as I'm hosting a bro.
There are not
brother.
many Byrons.
There are not many Byrons.
Yes.
Great. So going directly to our topic.
Yes.
Today we are talking about men arise and lead. I think it's prudent for us to start from the current situation. When we look at this topic and we say men arise and lead, what is the current state of affairs as far as men's leadership is concerned?
Thank you, Samuel. A very important topic. And even as you raise it, I feel, I don't know what to say. Because we shouldn't be calling men to arise. It should be a given.
It should be
men
given.
should be leading.
Yes.
Their position is a position of leadership. But now we are telling them to arise.
Meaning they are somewhere lower than where they were supposed to be, most of them.
In fact, the definition that I found just from Google is
Yes.
to arise is to emerge,
to come up,
become apparent,
be seen,
get up or stand up,
be visible,
be visible,
participate, be part of,
Sure.
take your place.
In fact, thank you for saying that, because you know that during COVID, people are forced to be present but not active.
Oh,
Not
yes.
participating. And they had, some of them even gave a reason and said, you know, I was not used to this.
It's not used to
I
being
live
at home.
early, not used to being at home
Yes.
with my wife and seeing my children.
Yes.
I'm used to waking up early, going to find money and coming back late to have maybe a meal and sleep.
And sleep.
Now I have to look at this woman
From morning to
every
evening.
day, every moment. What do we have to say? What can we do?
Oh my. Oh
And so, what is the current state of affairs? The situation is not encouraging. From what we see,
Yes.
through the media, through reports, through what we see, we can tell that men are missing out in action.
Most men.
Most men are missing out in action. Cases of child neglect are rampant everywhere.
That's true.
Women running to police stations, running to local leaders, running to churches. In fact, women have referred to us as sperm donors. Some women don't want even to hear the word men, because you talk about men and they just see you as a sperm donor. That is all. Producing and followed by irresponsibility.
Largely because of the experience they have had with the man in their life.
With the man in their life. Talk about provision.
Yes.
You've always had the notion that a man is supposed to provide. But there are many families, especially in the city here, in the suburban areas, whereby it is the women trying to find the means to keep the family. You know what men do?
I don't know.
They wake up to go and find out, to argue about who won between Manchester and Arsenal.
You are shaking tables now.
They go for
You're
sports
shaking
betting.
tables.
They know where all the Ludo tables are in the nearby places.
Table pool tables.
And so this thing called Kameza does not make sense to them. They leave nothing.
Yes, at home.
But expect to come back and find a meal.
And a good meal at that.
And when they don't find it, what do we have? Cases of domestic violence.
Yeah.
Because we have some men who are lazy, they are not providing.
Yes.
When we come to spiritual matters, it always saddens me when I hear many children testify about who had an impact in their spiritual growth.
I thank God that I had a praying mother.
Praying mother, praying auntie, praying grandmother.
Where is the praying father? Where is the praying uncle? Where is the praying brother? And where is the praying grandpa?
It is mommy who took us to church. It is mommy who would wake us up to pray. It is mommy leading the prayer altar. Men are missing out on the significance of being the priest, so to say, in the home. Men are also called to be protectors.
Yes.
When we found families, we are called to be the sense of security. When you are present in the home, your children should feel secure.
Yes.
So should your wife.
Not threatened.
Not threatened.
Yes.
So if a wife is saying, I don't know if I have a man in this house.
But why would she also say such a statement? Yes, there could be a problem, but also really, Why would she say such a statement?
Yeah, so we are asking you, our spouses, to be gracious with us. Be gracious with that man who is still asleep. Say to him words that will encourage him to rise up.
Because confession is possession. I heard one who said, Nakola lo, see, like I made a law talking with the fellow women. Natomera, I just accident.
Talking about protection. Sam, do you know that today it is becoming a little common for sexual abuse of children to be occasioned by biological fathers? Something that would appear so unnatural is seemingly becoming a norm. And I remember growing up, during holidays, I would spend many holidays with relatives, with family, friends. But now, if you ask me to send my children for holidays somewhere, I would think twice.
You are twice only. My
so,
friend.
fathers, men who are supposed to protect, you are the guardian of this child. You are the father, you are the uncle. Because you're paying tuition, then you take advantage when your wife is absent. Those are some of the issues that are prevailing today, in which we see men missing out, and we are saying, men arise and lead.
Yes, men arise and lead. There are even those who don't make any decision. They don't make decisions. The woman says, so, darling, what do we do here? I don't know. The children come and say, Daddy, what do we do here? I am not sure. They make no decision. They give no advice. They give no guidance. They are not guiding. They are not guarding. They are not governing. They are not mentoring. They are not ministering. They are not modeling.
Talk about that.
Men arise and lead.
The sad thing about that is that the women expect that decision making. And so they're saying,
yes,
we are waiting on him.
Yes.
He has not decided.
Yes.
There are some of our friends who chose to cohabit first. To test how the waters are before they make the decision and take her to church. And it's 25 years, they are still not yet able to make the decision.
Brother, when are you stopping the probation? You've been with that wife for 3 years, for 6 years, for 9 years, for 13 years, and you're not yet wedded. And you're still saying, I'm still testing her. Don't you think the probation is too much? In the professional circles, we give probation of only 6 months. Sometimes even 3 months. You've given your wife a probation of 13 years. Arise and lead.
True.
Let's know when the wedding meetings are starting. My brother, when we say men arise and lead, what makes it so important for men to take the lead according to God's order? What would be the impact if the men were actually taking the lead?
Thank you, Samuel. I recall in the introduction to this program, you mentioned that scripture where God was asking Adam, where are you? It was him who was calling out first. Because remember when we read in chapter 2 around verse 15, before we see the verse that says, it is not good for a man to live alone, to be alone. That verse says, God put Adam in the Garden of Eden to work it.
Yeah, chapter 2 verse 15. To cultivate it and guard it.
Cultivate it and guard it. Work it and keep it, depending on your version.
Yes.
So you can see that right from God's order, a man is a symbol of leadership. A man is the model of hard work. You know, there is a passage, I think in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 or chapter 6, in which Paul is saying there are some people who are busy bodies.
Yeah.
And he says, you have seen, we have demonstrated to you that we have earned our labor. We have earned from our labor. We have earned our work. I did that to demonstrate to you that you must earn your living.
And not be a
burden. Those who are not working should not even eat.
Yes.
So when men lead, they demonstrate that. Men are also the vision bearers, the sense of direction. When we marry, our wives always wait on us. Where are we going?
Yeah.
When young men find girls and they are trying to convince them or woo them into marriage, some strong girls have asked the question, okay, where do you see us in the next 5 years?
And then the boy says, but why are you rushing these things?
The question comes like a bombshell.
The boy says, don't mind. We will see.
You know, you have said, you know, I've come as I am. I don't have a Benz. I don't have money. I want you to, I've opened my life to you. Say,
yes.
Okay,
that's all right.
What I want. I want the honesty. But where are we going? What kind of journey are we going to take?
Yes.
That is expected of us as men, to know
Yeah.
where is my family going to go?
Sense of direction.
What kind of family do I want to found? What values govern this family?
Could that be where things like, indeed you've talked of vision bearer, meaning therefore the family should, the man should ensure that his family has a vision, should ensure that his family has values that govern the members of the home. There should be a strategic direction. The way we have it at an organization like International Justice Mission, like Inspired Leaders International, like any other organization, any other business, that should happen in our homes.
It should happen.
In other words, we shouldn't say, they shouldn't ask, what's the vision of your homes? To be a good home. We want to be good people.
Yes.
That's meaningless.
True. In Uganda, there are many homes where their motto is about our totem. Abana n'abazukulu omuziro ngo.
Abana n'abazukulu omuziro ngo.
Meaning, when
children and grandchildren, our totem is
leopard.
The leopard. So what would that
if
imply?
It is mamba, for example, it would mean, however sweet that fish is, the catfish, you can't have it.
Samuel Bakutana mbowa owempindi muzukulu w'amazige.
Abana n'abazukulu omuziro mpindi. Meaning, you do not test that. So we try to do that, but what values, what mottos do we have that are talking about spiritual values?
Yes.
What is the equivalent of, for me, as for me and my family, we shall serve the Lord? So you may not have it on your wall, but there must be a way in which it is stated, it is followed, it is lived.
Sense of direction.
A sense
vision bearing
of direction. Men are initiators. They're the ones that start things. Just like we have seen Adam in the garden. We know the story of the patriarchs. And therefore, a man must be an initiator.
Of what?
Of ideas.
Okay.
Must be creative.
Does that mean that the woman can't bring the ideas also, can't initiate some ideas and the man takes them on? Or even the children?
They can.
Yes.
And men should be
my children brought an interesting idea last week. My daughter came and said, Daddy, can we have like a movie evening? And I said, this evening we will. And we went and started to prepare the whole home, put together popcorns. We designed the screensaver for the Bakutana family movie night, and it was awesome.
Wow.
But that idea never came from me. I didn't initiate it. So just to say, does this mean that other members of the family can't initiate the ideas?
They can, and they encourage it too.
Yes.
But if a man does not initiate anything, many times you find that nothing will be initiated, or his place will be taken, because it is also akin to leadership.
Yes.
So men must initiate things, must initiate ideas.
I think the essence here is that leadership is about change, actually.
Change.
And so when you are initiating, you are changing something, you are changing a situation, you are changing a state, you are changing an environment, etc. And
related to leadership again and governance is the sense of order. You have these images as we are growing up of when daddy comes back. Forget those who are a source of insecurity and people are threatened, but there's a sense of how children feel about daddy. In fact, some spouses have said that, you know, I could tell them about this, and they do it sluggishly. But when you say it,
their feet.
When daddy says it, they will not drag their feet.
Yes.
That is given to us as men.
I will not go into the details of what I'm about to say, but I heard an interesting thing in the world of wildlife, the world of animals. There is a particular animal, I won't get into details, but I was told by my friends at Uganda Wildlife Authority recently that when a man comes, that animal runs away. When a lady comes, it stays. It was difficult for me to believe, but I was getting the information from those who are professionals in that world. It can even go that far in the world of wildlife.
Yes. So when a father is missing, when a father is not playing his role, there could be disorder. Indiscipline will arise, and they will say, you're not talking to your children. You're not finding time to talk to your sons. You're not disciplining your children. Disciplining is our role as men, and the instilling of value. So those are some of the ideas that I'm thinking about of why it is important for men to rise and lead.
Yes. So the impact will be very great, very deep if the man takes leadership according to God's order, because he is a model of hard work, meaning the members of the family will take it on also and be hard workers. He's a vision bearer. He gives a sense of direction. He is an initiator of ideas, so he brings about positive change, and he's an agent of discipline. Now tell me, why are many men not doing this? Why are many men increasingly not taking their position in leading their families like this? Are they bewitched?
No. But that's quite an important question to interrogate. Part of it is because of upbringing. And that is why I understand why now there are some intentional initiatives to engage the boy child.
Yes.
Some don't have male figures. Their parents died maybe due to HIV, or some have, dysfunctional families. Some are raised by single parents who are women and they miss a fatherly figure. And when you have so much effort on the girl child, she's prepared. You have a princess who along the journey of life has been prepared. They even have a wedding shower.
Bridal shower.
A bridal shower.
Yes.
And
the boy is having kasiki drinking alcohol as a send off.
Bachelor's party at which you even have all your exes come.
Oh my.
And it is assumed that, he will make it. So you end up having many weddings and fewer marriages, because they have not been prepared. We can no longer assume he will make a good man. We must be intentional. What values does he have? Has he been taught to make decisions? Has he been taught to have the heart of gratitude? Because he will not thank his wife for the food. Has he been taught that a man can fail and therefore he should be vulnerable to say, sorry?
Has he been taught to say, okay, that's all right, even when he's sure that he's right?
Yes. Has he been taught to control his emotions? Or as a man, if you're angry, you just display it. Has he been taught to respect the other gender?
Has he been taught to lead an altar in a home?
True. So that mentorship is lacking. And then I've watched your show many times, and you've said there is need for men to be empowered.
Yes.
So some don't know what to do. They are thrown into the bus.
Yes.
Lo and behold, they are a father, and they just cannot start.
Yeah.
They are non-starters. They don't know what to do. Some of them become insecure when they find that probably the spouse is moving a little faster. When they miss their step, the spouse is determining the debate.
Yeah.
Is determining the conversation. Is leading the way.
Sometimes doing it quite unapologetically and very forcefully.
And therefore you have to use means like, am I not the man in this house? Have you forgotten the sermon that I am the head?
Oh my. So you start to use scripture as a weapon, not a tool.
Yes. Or using your masculine abilities over the weaker sex to prove that you are a man.
And that's where now those who are advocating for the females will come in and call it toxic masculinity and throw it in our faces.
Yes. So these are some of the reasons, but mainly it is in how we are brought up. What values did you see? Who was your father? You heard that word. Who grew you? It's a slang. Who grew
it's a slang. Who grew you? In other words, who raised you?
Who raised you? Because in how you are raised, we can tell, oh, your father did a good job. And there are those people who have said, actually, I learned this from my father. And when you look at such people, you can tell that their fathers did a good job.
Yes. I hear you. Do you think that the ego also plays a part in men's failure to lead well their families?
Yes, it does. It does. thinking that we must prove that we are men. Forgetting that by the mere fact that you are the man, you have the leadership. It has been given to you. You can actually lead as a servant. Remember what Jesus said. Look at me. Am I not your servant? Am I not your leader?
Yes.
But I've served each of you. Therefore do this. And he demonstrated servanthood and humility to his disciples.
Yeah.
Therefore, some you can go to the kitchen sometimes. You can participate in house chores.
No, you complete the sentence. Some you can go to the kitchen sometimes and cook. Yeah, complete that sentence.
And cook.
For clarity
True.
of the people who are viewing.
Some you
Yes.
can cook for your family.
And
Not
a number
only
of
on
times-
Women's Day when you do
Exactly.
it and make the whole world know that, oh, I cooked, so
And
they
you
can
take
celebrate
selfies
you.
and put on Facebook.
Yes.
And to be honest, a number of times when I join that kitchen and prepare something, there is a different mood in my house.
True.
Smiles all over, happiness all over. It's like,
And sometimes you don't do it with a lot of struggle, but when
Yeah.
you do it, they will say, I wish we do it again.
yes,
Because they have seen the leader coming up to do something that is good.
yeah,
Participating
that
in
looks
service.
like service.
Yes. You've had many females refer to us as the African man. And the impression there is like, you are just the boss. You come back, throw your socks in the sitting room,
Yeah,
fold your legs, read the newspaper. And sometimes both you and your wife are working. Sometimes you even come back earlier. But you are waiting
yeah,
for your wife to come back and play her roles. Where is the food? Where is the water? And so on. So sometimes the ego can even affect you listening, the ability to listen to your spouse.
yeah.
Our spouses many times are not imposing. They have great ideas, but they want to see a space through which they can bring out their ideas. I was attending a wedding today and the pastor preached very well. And one of the ideas was bringing was that strengthen your communication so that you go beyond just hello, beyond information, beyond opinions, but even expressing of feelings.
Yes.
So if you're not available, if you have not created a room for your spouse to share a contrary idea, to give you an idea of where you need to go, to tell you where you are going wrong because of your ego, and you think, what can you tell me? You are simply a woman. I know what I'm supposed to do. That will affect your leadership.
And if you find a woman who is also tired, she will also turn and say, you are also simply a man.
Now,
So
there
inability to listen
there you will
actively.
need a lot of prayers
That's so
for
true.
the marriage to stand.
That is so
Otherwise, you run very quickly to court and say, it is irreparable.
true. Irreconcilable differences.
Irreconcilable difference.
Wow. I always believe that every relationship is redeemable, but that's a topic for another time. I think this is coming up in my mind. I think one other reason why most men fail to take the lead is because of lack of personal initiative. Because we can talk about upbringing,
Yes.
and we blame their late father,
Yes.
okay? And also blame their grandfather. But when you grow up, and in fact, let me not say grow up, let me say when you start to grow old, you should grow up.
Yes.
You can't continue giving your late father as an excuse why you are a bad father today.
True.
I will tell you this for a fact, that I grew up in a polygamous family, where my father had, 2 wives and so on and so forth, and things were not that rosy. There are many things I never saw my dad and my mom doing, but today I do them. And I have done them because I have taken a personal initiative to learn 1 or 2 things, to read a book here and there, to attend a seminar on marriage, to watch a video on YouTube from somebody I trust can share with me serious, sensible things about a man. And I've been learning and growing and putting things in practice. Here I am, by God's grace. I'm leading a whole ministry of men across the country. So I think lack of personal initiative as men also keep us back. You are waiting for someone to mentor you. You are waiting for someone to tell you what to do. But for you, are you going out there to look for the right information, to look for that mentorship, to grow as a man?
I agree with
you
you
know,
entirely.
even the issue of isolation,
Yes.
whereby you find a man is in isolation. He's
Yes.
never in a father's union
Yes.
because he has a funny mentality about a certain father's union of the 1980s
Of old
that he
people.
used to see.
Yes.
He doesn't join, you know, he's isolated.
Yes.
If he's not isolated, he has a useless association.
Bad
He's with the
company.
people that tell him a woman does what, said what,
Sure.
slap her, teach her a lesson. So at the end of the day, whereas, you know, there are these powerful things and great things about upbringing and etc. I think we should challenge ourselves as men.
We should.
Take personal initiative.
I do agree with you.
You know?
Some people grew up as they never saw their parents.
Yeah.
Some were raised by only mothers.
Yes.
So you have a responsibility over your life. You cannot you cannot give an excuse for your background entirely.
Yeah, they say that however tall your grandfather was, you have
Yes.
to do your own growing up.
True. And related to what you have said, I think that there are always many opportunities that we can use to learn.
Yes.
As someone at church, there should be a marriage that you see that is working. There should be a man that you see, and you can go up to him and say, how do you manage?
Yes.
You find younger people who are progressing than you are. Those challenge you. So I think life presents us with experiences which, if we are not alert to them, again, that makes us fail to do what we ought to
Yeah, yeah, indeed. And you see, today we are focusing on men arising and leading, especially in their families. But I realize that even outside the home environment, even outside the family, many men are shying away, for example, from leadership responsibilities in the community. There are many men who are doing so badly, even in academics when they are going for further studies. Even the boys in our schools, we have received results from the Uganda National Examinations Board. We've seen how boys are performing poorly in academics. We've seen how many men are not performing well in the workplace, in jobs, in the professional environment. I don't know what you think. Why is this so? Is it still a poor upbringing, lack of role models, single parenthood phenomenon, lack of marital preparation, absence of mentorship, inability to listen and not taking personal initiative? Or there could be much more to this, especially when it comes to now men not performing well even outside the home, generally in the community?
Yeah, partly I think we've tackled some of the reasons.
Yes.
Because again, the home, the foundation is very critical.
Yes.
But there are many other factors. Some of them you've mentioned. Then is bad company. There are people who never smoked at school,
Yes.
but they learned smoking because of the friends they made. There are people who find wrong, bad company, and that affects them. And what you have said is true. That you find people who are shying away from responsibility.
Yeah, you see men saying, no, they bring them up, say, Jackson, please lead us in giving a vote of thanks to our speaker. Does like this and moves away. And then they call Jen. And Jen stands up and gives the vote of thanks with a smile,
Yes.
with candor, with confidence, with the great audacity to bring out serious points. And before you know it, she's made the head of department, rightly so. Because she's able to represent the organization.
I think there are skills that we have to learn. You've talked about the power of communication,
Yes.
public speaking, interpersonal relationships.
Yes.
Because when you keep shying away, then you cannot be able to speak, you cannot be able to lead. Management and leadership.
Yes.
There are things you need to learn. And just risking and being available to learn.
Risk and be available.
Because there are people who, by nature, look shy
Yes.
or dull, but they volunteer themselves, give them responsibility, and they shine.
Yes.
And then you have this person who probably is stubborn, you give him responsibility, and they cannot take it on.
Yes.
So you mentioned it, taking initiative. There are people who just choose to resign. You find that we are 15 men, and one person is given 3 roles, and there are some people who have not taken any role. They say, no, I don't have time. Lack of commitment.
Yes.
And it is worse for matters of God.
Yes.
Men can volunteer in many other things, but when it comes to issues of serving God, they will give excuses. So I have no time.
And after the break, we will probe that line of thought further and understand why that is so. but also the aspect of self-leadership, because I believe you can't lead anyone else if you can't lead yourself. But we will also look at the key actions that we can actually take practically to ensure that we lead our families very well. And probably if we still have time, we will look at how boys can also be transitioned into manhood and deal with issues of where we have people who intentionally have movements to neglect boys and despise men.
True.
Don't go away. Just a little break and we are back. Back to the Inspired Family Leader program today with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host. This program is here to equip, empower, challenge the man to expand his family leadership capacity for national transformation. We strongly believe that if the man, the family leader, is equipped, given the tools, the skills, the knowledge, the values, the awareness that he deserves, that he should get, he will be able to offer credible leadership over his own family. And when the family is well led, the community will benefit, it will be well governed. And if the community is well governed, the nation will be having bigger chances of being transformed. The family is the foundational institute for leadership development. If it is not there in the home, in the family, we shouldn't expect it in the workplace somewhere else. We shouldn't expect it among our political leaders in business and economy, in the media, in education, on the mountain of celebration, arts, culture, sports, and entertainment. If leadership is not there at home, it will not be there anywhere else. No wonder John C. Maxwell, the author of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, says, if your leadership fails at home, don't export it anywhere else. Today, our topic is Men, Arise and Lead. With me in studio is Counsel Byron Mwanje, the head of legal at the International Justice Mission and a member of the Fathers Union in Uganda. When we went for the commercial break, we were talking about this very critical aspect of men not only not playing their roles in the home, but also you see that deficiency elsewhere in the community. And I believe that it's also connected. It could be connected to a failure of self-leadership among many men. If you were to give your top 3 things that every man should do in order to lead himself well, so that he is well positioned to lead his family, which ones would they be?
I'll talk about self-awareness.
Self-awareness is number 1.
Know who you are.
Are you saying men don't know who they are?
Some don't. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. Understand what struggles do you have with emotions, so that can affect how you deal with people, how you relate with your wife,
yes,
how you relate with your children, those above you, those below you. It will also affect how you relate with the askari, how you relate with your superior,
mate, your house help,
the house help, your in-laws,
the cleaner. So self-awareness is key. Where, before we go to the second point, where does one go to become more self-aware? Is it something you pray about and it happens? Is it?
I think part of it, the greater part of it, is a reflection.
Reflection.
I think it is important that through life you're not just running about. There's a point for you to have time. Think about yourself. Look at your past. Look at your journey. Think through the feedback you receive. What do people say about you? What does your spouse consistently say about you?
Especially
what do your
that
workmates say about you? Those things, when you add them together, show you the perceptions of people about you.
Oh, getting feedback.
The feedback.
Yes.
But also, what do you think about yourself? What do you think makes you tick? What brings energy out of you? What have you been endowed with? So that you know wholesomely who you are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, where do you need to check? Is it with your emotions? Are you someone who gets too excited and you need to check that? Are you someone who is so cautious on relationships, and therefore that affects how you relate with everybody because you're always closed up.
You're so reserved to your corner of the world.
To your corner. So that self-awareness is important.
Yes.
You can have time. You might be having always time with others.
Yes.
But you can go to a beach. You can go to a quiet place. Reflect upon yourself and say, who am I?
Even just under a tree. Some of our viewers have never seen a lake, so
yes, as long as you don't have distraction,
don't make them feel like if you don't have a beach, you can't reflect.
There is a place of thinking deeply about who you are, so that you are aware about yourself. The more you're self-aware, the more you mature in self-control. You can detect and say, oh, I think this person is causing me to get a little jittery. I need to stop the conversation.
Yes.
I think I'm getting impatient. I need to react this way.
I think this is the trigger. Yes. I may end up becoming violent. Yes. Let me walk out.
Yes.
So self-awareness breeds self-control.
Yes.
So that is one thing a man should do to lead himself.
Yes.
Secondly,
emotional intelligence.
That's a common phrase, but usually not so much understood.
And I'm going to define it just by examples.
Okay.
It is a situation in which you are able to exercise a certain kind of wisdom in a situation so that your communication or your action does not lead to injury or does not affect others. Let me give an example. You are a Christian, you have gone to visit a fellow Christian in hospital. And then you say, oh, you look so sick, it must be so painful. It is true the person might be looking sick, but what is the outcome of what you are saying?
Did you have to say that?
Did you have to say that? Your child has come back with a report that is not usual or not as expected.
I love your choice of words. A report that is not usual.
Yes. And then you say, you mean out of 60 children, you could only be the 40th? Don't you envy those who are first, second, third, and fourth? When are you saying it? Is it at the
Did
time?
I pay school fees to get these results?
Exactly. When are you saying it? You've come back home, you are hungry, probably you had a bad day, you're looking forward to dinner.
Yes.
The food has been burnt. And then you say, sweetheart, today when you're cooking, were you just quarreling? How is that helpful to the situation?
Where were you when this food was burning?
Exactly. And so sometimes you want a young man to get married.
Yes.
And if you want to encourage him, do you just say, aren't you tired of cooking and cutting your hands?
Why are you still single with all these beards you have on your face?
Yes.
People ask those questions.
You are going to do a teamwork, you're a team leader, and the first game you do is, let us line up by our age. And you have women as majority in your team. So those are the things that we talk about.
Yes.
Emotional intelligence. That's self. Wow. It is something about you. Can you have a time to think before you say? Can you read the moment and say, I should attain this goal, but I can say it differently. Oh, I don't need to.
Yeah.
Many times, Samuel, women do not want us to give solutions. They want us to just be present and listen to what they are telling us.
A certain man is now shocked by what you just said because he's been a consultant at home.
Yes, because
every time he's giving
I know
advice.
That innately, as men, we are problem solvers.
Yeah, we are fixers of things.
But when you insist, she will actually tell you, I didn't want a solution. I was just telling you. They wanted someone to pour out to.
A listening ear.
A listening ear.
Not a talking mouth.
So what you say, how you respond, when you find your spouse in a different mood, how do you begin? How do you break the ice? Emotional intelligence.
So for me, how I'm capturing this is that emotional intelligence, according to Byron Mwanje, is exercising situational wisdom to make right decisions. And number 3?
I think a man should be able to take risks. Take risks so that you can be able to make decisions.
Yes.
if you live so much in fear because you don't want to get it wrong, you will not attain anything.
Yeah.
So, in the spiritual, you might actually say, take a step of faith. Many things will not start so easily. Sometimes the idea may be so rough. Sometimes the vision could be so big. But if you don't start and want to work out everything, you may attain nothing.
Yes.
Therefore, you should be a risk taker.
All right. So, the man needs to be able to lead himself first if he is going to lead anybody else. And if he's going to do that, a good starting point is for him to, one, know himself well, deal with his emotions rightly in every situation, and be able to take steps of faith without being under the yoke of fear. Now that we are already in that mood of what to do, after doing this, what are some of the key actions that every man should actually practically take in order to now lead his family well? After these three of self-leadership, now we go to leading his family. What are some of the key actions?
Okay, so now regarding leading your family,
Yes.
I think some of the things is that communicate, state your principles. This is what we do in this house. We pray at this time.
Yes.
In this house, we follow Jesus. State it and live it. So demonstrate that.
Yes.
State it and live it. Create predictability.
Okay.
So that there's a sense of consistency. Don't be someone who the children cannot define, or your spouse. Be predictable in terms of who you are.
Yeah.
And what you want to do and what you expect. For the things you have said to do, can there be consistency over time? The prayer should be consistent. The lifestyle should be consistent. So if you've said we don't tell lies, you don't want to be in a vehicle with your children going to school, and they see you tell the traffic officer that you are heading to the hospital to see your sick mother, when actually you're going somewhere else.
You are going to school to check on the teacher of your children.
So you have to live that.
Yeah.
You have to live that. I think as men also need to learn to be vulnerable. It is important to show strength and capacity and ability, but it's also very empowering when you say, I have failed at this today. I strived at this, but this is how far I can go. Or today,
So somebody will say you are discouraging your family. Now they were looking at the man whom they are having a lot of hopes in, and then you come and you say, family, I have failed. Aren't you discouraging your followers in the home?
That's the reason why your child will think that even when they have malaria, you will suffer the malaria with them.
Okay.
So that will help everyone understand that there are limitations. He's our father, but he's not Superman.
Okay.
We all depend on a greater power.
He's not Assistant Jesus. He's not Deputy Almighty. He's not Holy Spirit Junior. He's a human being like us, only that he's our head.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can acknowledge, I am tired. I need to take rest. I think that is important.
Even Jesus on the cross said, I am thirsty.
Yes.
Okay.
But also, when you have things you've set out to do, write them down.
Okay.
There is
Are those like family goals or something? Or
family goals,
or personal,
or even family goals. If you set out to do some things, write them down. There is power in writing, because there is a sense of somewhere you are going to refer to. Ideas can go out of your head.
Habakkuk 2:4.
Yes.
Write the vision down, clear on tablets, that whoever sees it can run with it.
Address issues as they arise. Do not postpone. For example, if it is in relation to your spouse, deal with the conflict as soon as you see it in it. As soon as you realize it, talk about it. If possible, bring the conversation.
Doesn't that contradict this other related advice of you don't have to address issues whenever they come up? Look for the right timing. Sometimes you need to leave them until an appropriate moment. How do you reconcile the two?
Yes. Okay, you can balance that, of course, with the appropriate moment, but many times you do not know how the prolonging of this issue will magnify it.
Okay.
Planning to do it will also give you the appropriate time, but not planning to deal with it will just have it not dealt with.
Yeah.
You will just procrastinate, and that's when, after seasons of doing it, your spouse will say, "We need to talk." I
When you
didn't
hear
know
that,
you were such
you want to run
a
away.
bad man. And you say, "Is that true? How come you have bared me all these years?" Okay. So it is important to deal with situations. If it is discipline, deal with it so that you do not propagate a culture of impunity.
Yes.
Otherwise, the child misbehaves, you don't deal with it, you look the other way, you're sending a message that it is okay.
There are
Deal
no
with
consequences.
There are no consequences. Make it clear.
Yes.
There are consequences for something bad, and there are disciplinary actions that are taken.
Address issues as they arise. Have your goals written. Learn to be vulnerable. Create predictability. And state your principles, plus going ahead to live them. This is amazing. We just have a few minutes to end this program. But what is coming up in my mind right now is that men actually come from boys. So we are here talking about men arising and offering credible leadership. I don't know whether they should have to first become men who are 23 years, 25, 30, 46, 50, before they can start to lead. Or before we can start to equip them. So, for us to be proactive, Byron, how can boys be prepared early in order to be great men later? Just briefly in a minute.
Briefly, give them responsibility. Let them realize that they have a sense of responsibility and you can trust them. Affirm them. Affirm them so that you can encourage them.
Yes.
You can make it.
Yeah.
I see you are striving to become better. Affirm them. Have time with them to keep pressing down the principles, just like Moses was told. Write them down on the walls, talk about them on the way.
Yes.
You don't do it once. You have to consistently be in their presence and tell them.
Yes.
Give them opportunities to be challenged. Are they participating in games where there is competition?
Yes.
So what happens when they lose? What happens when they win?
Yes.
Let them participate in, take them to conferences, to camps, to be taught by others, to be away with other boys, with peers, with those above, with those below, and all that will affect their participation. Model whatever you want them to become.
Yes.
Because many of them will say, I'm doing this because I saw my dad do this.
Yes.
I'm doing this because I saw.
Or
So
I am not doing this because I never saw my father
never
do
saw
it.
it. So be intentional in modeling your life
Yes.
and be careful what you tell them.
Wow.
The more you tell them things that build them, the things that are positive, the more impactful they will be.
Yes.
The more negative you are to them, the more you focus on their weaknesses, the less they will be of a man that is empowered, that has capacity to have influence.
I hear you. And now, as we say all this,
Yes.
I can assure you we are aware of some deliberate individuals, some deliberate organizations, movements, companies, etc., who exist to ensure that we neglect boys and we destroy men. That's why they exist. Some individuals, some organizations, not only here in Uganda, but across Africa and around the world. There are some groups of people, there are some movements that are busy ensuring that they go through policy, they go through teaching, books, etc., and they cause the world to neglect boys and cause the world to destroy men. What do we do about this? In just half a minute. What do we do about this? It's a reality we are facing.
I think let us insist by doing what we ought to do, by telling our boys what we know. For example, celebrate your masculinity as a man. A man is supposed to be strong, not weak. A man is supposed to be a hard worker. A man takes responsibilities. A man accepts challenges.
Yes.
A man is a leader regardless of what his position is. So wherever you are, even if you are a cleaner, even if you are the receptionist, but you are a man, you can still lead. By putting in practice what has come out of your self-leadership into how you relate with others.
I hear you. So go ahead and do what we ought to do in the circumstances.
Yes.
I think we will also need to look at the policy angle one of these days and find a way how to also do advocacy that is appropriate, and even continue to have programs like the Inspired Family Leader Program, where we continue to equip the men and their families to live together appropriately.
True.
And as we come to the end, what's your message to some woman who has been watching us, and in her home she is the leader of opposition? Like we say in the government, because at home there, she is always pulling down her husband, disrespecting him in public, yet she expects this man to be a great family leader. What's your message to that woman?
I think what I would say to this woman is that it is good that you have your strength and abilities, but God's order is that the man is the head of the house. Head does not mean someone who tramples over you, but it is the hierarchy of leadership that God has set. Submission does not mean being trampled upon and becoming a doormat. It simply means coming under the leadership. So accept the leadership of the man, support his vision, encourage him, never kill the lion in that man. Affirm him for whatever action he does that you expect him to do. And bring your ideas in such a way that they do not pull him down, but that they are right and that they take you ahead as a family. Don't kill the lion in him. Let him always feel that you respect him as a man. He will be obliged to love you.
Go right ahead, my brother, and give your parting shots.
I want to say 3 things to the men watching this. One is that self-discovery is foundation to your journey of significance. Self-discovery is foundational to your journey of significance. Discover yourself. Arise, know who you are, then start on the journey on showing the world who you are. 2, your active presence is critical to your impact in the lives of your spouse and children. Your active presence. Children want to see you present. They want to see you at the PTA meetings. They want to see you on sports day. They want to see you when they're doing MDD. They want to see their father affirming them and rallying around them. Your spouse needs your time. And finally, the choices you make today will define your legacy. Make the right choices today, and that will be your legacy. Regardless of how young you will die, your choices will define your legacy.
Wow. That has been the Inspired Family Leader Program today, talking about the importance of men arising and offering credible leadership. It's not enough for us to keep rubbing it, in the face of everyone that we are heads in our families. It's not enough to remind our wives that we are the husbands in the home. It's not enough for us to remind our children how we are the fathers in the home. It is critically important to demonstrate our headship in healthy ways. It is pertinent that we offer credible leadership, servant leadership, transformational leadership over our families, bro. We are not born knowing these things. We keep learning. It's not enough to lead from the area of knowledge, from the angle of knowledge. It's important to lead from the angle of learning, because there are things we don't know yet. We can keep learning and keep getting better. Alvin Toffler said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who can't read and write, but those who can't learn and unlearn and relearn. The moment you stop learning as a man, you start dying as a leader in your home and elsewhere. Go and think about those three things as you arise to take up your position and lead your family as a man. Self-discovery, active presence, and making healthy choices that will buttress and solidify your legacy on this earth. You need to aspire to inspire before you expire and retire. Arise and lead.